everyone, it's me, Kimmy, and I know I just posted the most random scatterbrain video ever, and I'm sorry about that. Again, no editing software, and I'm on a tablet, and it's 9 o'clock at night, so yeah. Anywho, this video kind of goes along with the LGBTQ theme, and it gets better, so I guess I should tell my story and then explain a little bit. As most of you probably know from the last video, or may not know from personal experience of knowing me or my previous videos, I am a pansexual female, which means I like somebody for their personality, not by their genital parts or their gender expression or anything like that. Yes, I am attracted to certain types of people, certain personalities, etc. But it doesn't matter if they're a male, a female, a transgender, any of those. And so I used to identify as only bisexual because I didn't realize that there was another option. There was transsexual, which means, or not pansexual, which means you're also attracted to transgenders and drag queens and stuff like that. Because I've met a few drag queens I've had huge crushes on, and drag kings. But anyways, I guess I've always known because this is a really stupid story, and my stepsister would probably kill me if she figured this out. But my little stepsister is like 2 years apart from me. And when we were little, we'd go down to the country bar with my dad because he played music, and I used to sing as well. And there would be really cute girls in their little Daisy Dukes and their cowboy hats, the typical cowgirl pretty much, just overly sexualized cowgirl. And then there were the older men and then the younger cute cowboys. Well, there was this one time we went, and there was this gorgeous woman, and my stepsister got to dance with her. And me being a very jealous little kid, I sat there and pouted because I didn't get to dance with the pretty lady that I had a crush on. And it wasn't one of those I'm jealous because my sister got it things. It was one of those crushes that little boys have, typically. Like, you know, the little, like, 3 or 4 year old boy that sits and pouts if he doesn't get to talk to the really pretty lady, or if she just ignores him. Same thing. And even when, and this is how I know that I really had a crush on her, and it wasn't just, oh, my sister got to do it and I didn't. Because when she asked me to dance too, I was like, no, I'm good. And I was sitting there in tears by the time that I gave up. And then maybe 8th grade, I think it is. Yeah, 8th grade. And mind you, in between I had little crushes here and there, like every kid does, and it was both female and male. But I kind of suppressed the female ones. But in 8th grade, I had a friend who I knew was bisexual. I'm not going to mention names, but if she watched this video, she'd know exactly who I was talking about. And we were in the musical together, and we hung out a lot with one of my guy friends who was bi also. And he got shunned very quickly. And at the school I was going to, being anything but straight or an extremely gay guy was wrong. If you were a gay guy, you better be in theater or cheerleading, was their opinion. If you weren't, you were shunned. But this girl, she, I believe, had a crush on me. It seemed like she did, and I had a huge crush on her. And one time she sent me one of those stupid forward texts that was like, the person reading this is beautiful, amazing, smart, yada yada, and I had the biggest butterflies in my stomach ever when she sent that to me. And I had only had that feeling with guys, like when they sent me cute texts, because I never had a girl do that. So that was when I first fully realized it. And then I went through freshman year, I went through sophomore year, and I denied it every time somebody was like, oh, you're bi. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm definitely into guys only. Even though when I was hanging out with my guy friends, if they're like, oh, she's hot, I'd be like, yeah, she is. Because I thought, no, that's normal. Girls are supposed to like other, or say another girl's attractive. It's normal, right? And one day I hung out with my best friend who was very much bisexual and very open about it. And we were watching a rated R movie that had a few sexualized scenes in it and Megan Fox in it. And my sister and I were both all googly eyes about Megan Fox the entire time, including a few scenes that she was exposed. And so that's when I finally decided to come out. And I came out to one of my best friends who is lesbian, and then I came out to very few other people except for the one girl I ended up dating. And by dating her, I kind of outed myself to everyone because I posted the relationship on Facebook. Wasn't sure how anybody would react, and most people were like, oh, cool, she's really pretty, congrats. And I was scared to see my family. Like 6 months later, if that. Yeah, like it wasn't much later that I saw my family. And my family are a lot of southern type of people. They are very open-minded, I found out, but at the time I didn't think that because they make jokes and they're not necessarily appropriate jokes, and they can be jerks sometimes, but then again, who can't? But my dad was probably, my dad and my uncle were the most awesome about it. My dad, he didn't say a word about it at first, and then I told him, Dad, I like girls. He's like, well, you like guys too, right? I'm like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, then that makes you just as weird as everybody else. I love you the same, and I'm going to treat any girl you come home the same as I would treat a guy. I don't care as long as they love you. And then my uncle, who's my mom's brother, not my dad's brother, I went over to his house. He's like, so you had a girlfriend? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, you're still my favorite niece. You're still an amazing girl. And I don't care who you love. You can love a girl. It's fine. It's actually kind of hot, but it's fine. Again, my family, not exactly conventional. But, yeah. And so, like, more and more I'd come out to people. And I wouldn't really come out to boyfriends when I had them, because I've only had 2 girlfriends. Mainly because I'm not out, like, excessively out. I don't flaunt it, I guess. It takes somebody to really know me, or to check my Facebook even, because that's how easy it is, to know that about me. And so more and more I started just telling people, hey, I'm bi, do you have a problem with it? And the only time I really had a true problem was my color guard team, because I was on color guard, and color guard, as well as dance and cheerleading and plays and whatever, you have to change in front of other females, and you have to change in front of the males sometimes. We had 1 gay male on the team, and then 10 very straight females, or so they thought. This was after my best friend had quit, and they knew about her, but they ignored her because they're kind of afraid of her. But at that point, one of those seniors, because I was only a junior at the time, it was right after I'd come out, right after I had a girlfriend, one of the seniors, who was very conservative Catholic, found out that I was bi, because I don't remember, I was talking about something about it, and talking about GSA, and why I joined GSA, and all this stuff, and she's like, oh, you like girls. I'm not comfortable with that. You shouldn't be on this team anymore. And her sister and a few other people on the team kind of started, I guess, distancing themselves from me, and they're like, oh, if the coach finds out, you'll be kicked off. One of the coaches knew, because she was one of my ex's moms, and she was also a really awesome person who was friends with my mom. And so she knew. The other coach did not very open-minded woman to begin with. So, luckily, I found out 3 other people on the team were, in fact, bi. 2 of which were my best friends, who had stayed the night at my house many times. We'd all stayed over at guard sleepovers many times. And one of them was openly with a woman, and they were fine with her. But it was because I had been on the team longer, because I kept it hidden from them. And so my friend who was with someone was like, listen, we're not gonna like go after you. And then my other friend, who was kind of out but kind of not, it really depended on the person that she hung out with, she was like, listen, you're not attracted to every man you see, right? And the girl who pushed us away was like, well, yeah, some are ugly, some are crap. And she's like, and our guys on the team, when we have straight guys, are not attracted to you. So what makes you think I would be? Or Kim would be? Or anybody else who is bi or lesbian would be? And it was really not a tactful way to do it, but it got her point across. And she stood up for me, and then she kind of outed all of us, and so did I accidentally. But then there was one very brave girl who doesn't really say anything, because normally she just stays back and doesn't tell anybody anything, and just kind of is like, oh, I'm not going to say anything so I don't offend anyone. She was like, well, I'm bi too. And because of that, our team became a little bit more open-minded about it. I mean, they're still kind of closed-minded about people, but they aren't really going to like, oh, you can't be on our team, or oh, we hate you for this. But yeah, like, now that I'm in college and everything, I really don't see a problem with, I don't have problems with it. Like, the worst is guys are like, oh, you like guys and girls, let's have sex. It's like, no, I don't want to be with a guy and a girl. I want to be with a guy or a girl. And they're like, oh, well, that's kind of hot. You should make out with this girl and let me watch. And it's like, no, that's my own personal life. If I'm attracted to that woman, I'm going to just be with that woman. And yeah, so other than very closed-minded individuals who don't have the best intentions, I've not really seen much of a problem with it. And I know that it definitely does get better once you get out of high school and middle school, because, I mean, there's bullying a lot in high school. And, like, even when I wasn't outed, I got bullied more when I was in the closet about being bi. I got bullied about everything more than I did afterwards. I think that's majorly in part because people were like, oh, it's a hate crime. But it's hard, and I can't say I didn't break down a lot, and I didn't have moments where I just wanted to quit and curl up in a ball and forget about life, but it does get a lot better. And I am very happy that I didn't give up and that I found a school that's very open. We have a drag queen show next week even, and we have gay prom and all kinds of really cool stuff. And it's great to see that our school isn't so closed-minded. Like, for example, we had a panel the other day, and I'm in ROTC, which is a very scary thought because it's military. And the military and LGBT community do not mix very well. Well, we have one day a week where we have to wear our uniforms. Since I was doing a panel, I did not want to wear my uniform. I chose not to wear my uniform because I didn't want to be representing the Army. I wanted to be representing myself. I didn't want to represent the group. I wanted to represent myself, an individual in the community. And that's how I perceived it. So I was like, no, I'm not going to wear my uniform today. I didn't end up going to class anyways. Couldn't go to class. But in the class that we had the panel, we had 3 cadets in full uniform. One is in my squad, one is a third-year cadet, and the other one is a freshman who's in my class. The freshman who's in my class is normally one of my closest friends in that class, and unfortunately he's not. I guess he was more shocked to see that I was part of this whole LGBT thing. He's very open-minded, but it was more of a shock because he refused to talk to me the past 2 classes that I've had with him. But the other cadets, I haven't really talked to them since then, but they seem to be understanding and very open-minded and very accepting, I guess. And I guess that's why I have faith in humanity with that, because there are very straight individuals who are conservative, who are military, who come from any background, like my family, for God's sakes, and they still are very open-minded. They still are very accepting of those who they love, and they still, I guess, try to open the eyes of others and educate others, which is what I try doing. And sorry this video is so long, but I had a lot to say, I guess. So I'll cut this short before it turns into a half-an-hour video. And thank you guys for watching, if some of you guys actually stuck through the video. So yeah.